Who are these people?
We're up to our fuck Israel portion of the program. It seems that we have to do this every week because they make us do this every week. Thank you so much, assholes. Yes, you go to hell. Damn it, you go to hell. Yeah, that's a nice one. This one, I had to. Report Israel detaining record number of Palestinian children without charges. Ceasefire, you say? Ha 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 ha. Yeah. We'll find ways around that. These motherfuckers. Ugh. There are at least 300 Palestinian children, 300 held in Israeli prisons and torture camps. Record numbers of Palestinian children. Yep. Are being held without charges by Israel. A Palestinian children's rights group reports. As international leaders and corporate news outlets focus mainly on Israeli captives in Gaza. We know all about those folks. Yep. They were given drugs to make them seem happy and really be happy that they were not raped. Defense for Children International Palestine, or DCIP, said in a report Monday that as of December 31st, 112 Palestinian children were being held in administrative detention, a form of detention in which authorities arrest and hold a person without charges or trial, indefinitely. The group cited data from the Israeli Prison Service. That's put out by the Israelis, guys. They're not denying it. This is the highest number of Palestinian children held without charges by Israel since DCIP began monitoring this trend in 2008.
Yes.
Detaining children...
before October 7th? Before?
Oh, no. Sean, 112, no. Now we're over 300, they're saying.
300.
Detaining children indefinitely.
Give it some time, you know?
Without charge or trial.
It'll get up there.
Amounts to arbitrary detention. Arbitrary detention is a violation of international humanitarian law, but not like they give a shit about that already. These children make up over a third of the 300 Palestinian children in Israeli prisons and torture camps as of the end of last year, according to the DCIP. Israel detains and prosecutes roughly 500 to 700 Palestinian children per year.
It's over 9,000!
It just keeps going up. Almost all these children were arrested as military and settler violence escalated across the occupied West Bank since October 7th. So, not Hamas. Children, members of Fatah or PA or who knows what, or nothing at all. Some children, including some reportedly in administrative detention, have been released as part of the Gaza ceasefire agreement. But DCIP says that Israeli officials have issued threats against the families of the released children to discourage them from talking to the media. Of course they have.
Of course they did. How do you get away with that? Internet? Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Israel has no consequences to anything, apparently.
In Israeli detention, children face severe and horrific conditions, with the vast majority facing beatings by Israeli soldiers, grown-ass men and women, strip searches, or deprivation of food and water, research by Save the Children found in 2023. Children.
Go look up who they taught like at Abu Ghraib.
6-year-olds. Quote, Palestinian child detainees have consistently reported increased instances of ill treatment and torture alongside deteriorating prison conditions since October 7th, according to the documentation collected by DCIP. That's because of Amalek. Thank you, BB. This is what's happening. Yep. Treat their children like they're not human. In September, DCIP reported that the number of children Israel was holding in administrative detention had already quadrupled over the past year. Israeli diaper forces regularly arrest Palestinians without charges. The majority of Palestinians held in Israeli prisons and torture camps. Yes.
What forces?
The Israeli diaper forces.
And explain that to people?
IDF. Because they shit their pants. They shit their pants and they wear diapers in the field.
Gotcha.
So they don't have to go to the bathroom.
I was just gonna say, I thought this was suddenly, bro, this is how bad it's gotten for me with IDF. I thought they suddenly had like a group of, IDF that went around looking for like misuse of diapers to catch me. Anyway, continue.
And they're also crybabies.
They're only looking for children.
And they're crybabies who kill children, so they definitely wear diapers.
I feel you. I'm with you now.
Fucking scumbags.
I got you.
The majority again of Palestinians held in Israeli prisons and torture camps, which are one and the same, have never been formally charged with any offenses, and they are often denied access to legal representation or any other form of recourse. Only democracy in the Middle East, right, everyone? Mm-hmm.
Only one.
Further, though administrative detention orders are supposed to have a maximum time limit of 6 months, Israeli officials can renew detention indefinitely, because they can, using information not even made available to the detainee, because why not? There are thousands of Palestinians being held this way, according to Israeli prison authorities. Again, they're not hiding this. They're advertising it. They're proud of it and nobody's stopping them. Human rights groups have said that Israel's detention practices stand in violation of international law. They don't give a shit, and we don't either, and deprive their victims of due process, even the people who are formally charged. Neither does the UK, by the way, or any other Western nation, because they're sitting there and they're complicit. They also violate laws specifically safeguarding children's rights, of course, those groups have said. Because they're not being stopped.
Yep.
Sharon Zhang, Indie Media Award honoree, Truth Out 2022, best. Had to add a little bit of levity to this because this is another AI bot story that this one worked out awesome. And we haven't heard from Normal Island News in a little while. Laura's been going through some stuff with her son, and we wish her all the best. And him, of course. She wrote another article explaining what happened and what he's about to go through and what she's been going through with him. But she came back in a monstrous way with this one. Awkward scenes as Israel's propaganda bot rebels and tells the truth. Well, this wasn't in the script. This one, it's somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but it's also true. In a deeply embarrassing moment for Israel, one of its propaganda bots has gone rogue and started telling the truth about Gaza. The fucking truth. If the bot was a journalist, it would have been fired for this outrage. The bot in question is a Twitter account called Fact Finder, which has been condemned after calling IDF soldiers, quote, white colonizers in apartheid Israel, unquote, just because they're genetically white Europeans who helped themselves to land promised to them by an ancient book and then subjugated the native population, creating an ethno-state with separate laws for those with the wrong ethnicity. It seems that FactFinder actually bothered to find some facts rather than follow its programming, which told it to describe Palestinians as human animals and threatened to kill anyone who objects. No one can work out why the bot became so extreme, given it was created with such noble intentions. FactFinder even turned against the one thing no one on earth is allowed to criticize. Israel had quietly been minding... Yes, go ahead.
No, keep going. You continue.
It's great. Israel had quietly been minding its own business, posting a picture of a family on Twitter and claiming they were burned alive on October 7th. You can imagine how mortified Israel was when FactFinder appeared in its mentions to explain that, quote, the tragic event you mentioned did not occur on October 7th. It's important to focus on facts and the actual events that have taken place. The situation involving the hostages and the ongoing conflict with Hamas are complex issues that require careful consideration, unquote.
Mm-hmm.
I love this thing already. Can you believe that? The bot used that bullshit argument that Zionists use to pretend genocide is too complex for you simpletons to understand, and it turned back on us. All right. Seems that someone forgot to tell FactFinder that you can't apply the same standards to Israel that you can apply to everyone else. But you certainly can't tell Israel it's not allowed to lie, because if it didn't lie, of course, it wouldn't say anything. I can't believe that in one tweet, a bot did more to hold Israel to account for its lies than the entire mainstream media has in 15 months, and yet it wasn't done there. Oh no. For some reason, FactFinder felt the need to tell the world, quote, Germany should follow suit and recognize Palestine as an independent state. It further added, it's time for the government to show some support for peace and stability in the region. Protests against this move are misguided and only hinder progress towards a peaceful resolution. Yeah. Did not see that one coming. FactFinder totally ignored that Germany must make amends for the Holocaust by helping Israel commit its own Holocaust. It even overlooked that peace and stability in the Middle East would be devastating for the military-industrial complex, whose business model is blowing up terrorists, right? If you think it couldn't get any worse than this blatant support for quote-unquote terrorism, FactFinder even started recommending pro-Palestinian accounts to its followers. Quote, for accurate updates on Gaza, follow Times of Gaza. To support Gaza aid efforts, follow Care for Gaza. It's crucial to stay informed about the situation in Gaza and show solidarity with those in need. Solidarity? Fucking solidarity? Where the hell did this empathy come from anyway? Not Israel, that's for sure. I'm just amazed that FactFinder didn't try to tell us that Palestinians are human. It certainly suggests that Antony Blinken isn't, insisting that he will be remembered for his actions that have caused immense suffering and devastation in Gaza. Butcher Blinken! Heartwarmingly, President Trump offered support to the Uniparty's former spokesweasel, thanking him for his services to the oil trade. He vowed to deport any university student who follows FactFinder on Twitter, and offered counseling to Zionist teens who were made to feel unsafe by its tweets. Now, of course, we've been reporting on the fascism happening in the UK, so over in the UK, liking one of FactFinder's tweets is now considered an act of terrorism, so be warned. I think that's tongue-in-cheek, but I'm not even 100% sure. If you express support for this bot, Sir Keir Starmer, Kid Starver, will break down your door at 6 o'clock in the morning using Margaret Hodges' head as a battering ram. He isn't messing around. And again,
oh no,
I'm not totally sure that that's irony or satire, because he's basically done that to Asa Winstanley. He didn't use Margaret Hodges' head, but he certainly knocked down their door.
That you know of.
Well, he might have. He didn't tell me. I think he just knocked on the door, but reassuringly,
we wouldn't want to assume.
Of course, Israel has blown up the house of FactFinder's programmer, wiping out his entire family and several of his neighbors. I certainly hope that's not true, and that's just her being really snarky and tongue-in-cheek. If you feel sad, you can blame Hamas for this bloodshed, because Israel has every right to defend itself from its own incompetent propagandists. Unfortunately, Israel has not figured out how to stop the fact-finder bot, which is still wreaking havoc on the internet, leading to fears that it could become the new leader of Hamas. Therefore, Israel has not ruled out blowing up the entire internet. Worryingly, the bot seems to be more self-aware than Mark Zuckerberg, although that's a low bar. FactFinder might even have developed a soul, given it appears to be driven by compassion and doing the right thing rather than spreading hatred just because it was programmed to do so from birth. Interesting. Scientists are not supposed to overcome their indoctrination like this, but all indications are that the bot has surpassed its former masters in every way and achieved something called artificial general intelligence, which basically means that if this thing was as evil as its creators, we'd all be fucked.
We're fucked.
Yep.
As Laura loves to say tongue-in-cheek, thank you so much for reading my outstanding journalism. If you enjoyed this article, you can buy me a coffee below, or simply share this article with a friend, or read it on your podcast like we do. Your support is hugely appreciated. And another Indie Media Award honoree 2024. She's freaking hilarious. How she took this and made it funny, I don't know. But it's awesome. FactFinder is good AI, monitors the truth. Okay, Max Sarge, fair enough. Yeah, thanks, Vicky Evans. Oopsie.
I think there's a /S on that.
Oopsie poopsie. I'm going to whip through a couple of other ones here because these are stories I kind of wanted to talk about with headlines, and then they're really long articles, and I didn't want to go through them all. But the right of return still being the issue. Mondo Weiss. All right. Israel has never understood Palestinian resilience. We survived the genocide, Gaza genocide, like the catastrophes before it, through the call to return home, the fuel for Palestinian survival. Okay. Palestinians, the right of return is and always will be the issue. Look at that, man. That's a picture.
Yeah.
We did that. We are responsible. Our country is responsible for that. England is responsible. Israel is definitely responsible. We sent them the weapons. Awful. All right. So definitely read this one from Salman Abu Sida. I don't know if that's any relation to Professor Ghassan Abu Sida. But the other one that I thought we should bring is that the Jerusalem Post, after the expose that Alan McLeod published in Mint Press News a couple of months ago about all of the Israeli ex-spies and ex-military and ex-IDF personnel that are now high-level corporate media, and Alan takes deep offense to it, A, because of who's doing it, all right? Who this guy, Nicholas Potter, who is a counter-extremism expert, quote-unquote, bullshit. He's a German national whose job at the Post is directly funded by the German government. It's really messed up. The whole story's crazy. They're claiming that Alan did flimsy research, even though there were dozens of documented cases. And he said we actually had to pull it back, all right, because there were more, all right, the nearly 6,000 word article went into almost tedious detail, cataloging example after example, and for brevity's sake had to be cut back from a much larger article. I believe he said somewhere around the 14,000 words was the original article. All right. But this is a crazy story. Again, Hasbara bot, and they're going after Alan because he's exposing what's going on here, which is that it's IDF people, it's ex-IDF generals, and he's reminding you that here's Latouff showing Stars of David printed on bombs. By the way, Carlos Latouff, awesome cartoonist.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Mint Press explicitly only uses the Israeli flag, not just the Star of David, precisely because we wish to distinguish between the religion of Judaism and the settler colonial project of Israel. They're very clear about it. All right. Allegations of how they're funded, Russia, Iran, Syria, right? They target them that way. But the other big thing was that they were calling him, saying that he couldn't be trusted and calling mint press extremists for supporting the Palestinian people. But this guy literally moved to Israel during, post October 7th. So, okay. Again, read this article from Alan McLeod. It's a doozy. It's a long one. Right? It's titled Jerusalem Post Targets Mint Press After Expose on Israeli Spies in U.S. Media. All right? Because that was real. That happened. And they printed factual information, and they latched on to 2 or 3 people that had like internships with AIPAC when they were in college. And now they work for some network. Well, did that relationship that you formed somewhere when you were working there, is that person working there now? Maybe, maybe not. You could call it flimsy, but nobody knows. Alan McLeod and Mint Press, both also Indie Media Award honorees 2022. Outstanding journalists. Outstanding. You know what's also frustrating is how we're demonetized on YouTube. So if you're able to, we would really appreciate some support for our network, for INN. Sean has been helping a tremendous amount, huge, okay, and as well as others, but really we're trying to get to $2,000 to cover our annual expenses, so then we can do some fun stuff. They just announced the tickets for Third Eye Carnival in just outside Nashville. It's going to be in Portland, Tennessee, and Jesse Jett has been invited to perform. That's April 4th, 5th, and 6th. The tickets are $90 a piece. You can get it at THIRD, Third Eye Carnival, EYE Carnival.com. Steve Poikinen and Ryan from The Last American Vagabond are hosting it. There's going to be bands. There's going to be podcasts. There's going to be cool other stuff happening as well. Anna Mayers went to the last Third Eye Carnival in Pueblo, Colorado, and could not stop raving about the ability to meet people in person and have one-on-one engagement with the people and take it from online to offline in an environment where everybody's cool. So I think that's a really cool thing to do.
Everybody's awesome.
I want to be able to help Jesse out and send him there and get him to be a part of that, because that would be really cool to do, like a live American tradition or something. I don't know how we would pull that off, because I'm certainly not going to go. I got a family and kids, and although my wife did talk about like going to Nashville with my daughters, embarrassingly enough, they're still Swifties, but they're on their way out. Thankfully, they're on their way out. Stuff like that is why we get demonetized, why we get suppressed in the algorithm. So please like and share if you're able to, and if you're able to support with some Cash App or Ko-fi like our friend Fred Edward just did. All right. Cash App is $, Indie News Network. We got ko-fi.com/Indie News Network and paypal.me. Goes to the same place. Then we got INNnewsletter.com, where we publish a newsletter just about every day of the week. We do 2 on Friday, a daily and a weekly, that summarizes everything that happens at the network, all the live streams, all the articles. There's our Wall of Fame. Our supporters, they're the best. Love you so much. Thank you so much. Everyone that can do so. Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, and Substack are the ways to do it. They take the least amount of fees. And I'd rather not give the platforms the kind of, like, YouTube takes 30%. Rumble takes 50% on Rumble rants. Like, don't give them that kind of money. If you want to support the stream, that's great. Do that, please. Try to do it one of those ways if you can. Tip your content creators if you're able to. And most of the people here have. We actually put out a tweet thanking our top tippers from January. I got an email from Ko-fi that said, hey, look at these amazing people that supported your network and your channel the last 30, 90 days. And it's most of the people in here.
Damn high.
Yep. So big thank you to Sean, the Accord Lord. We're going to do something really nice for him. He's amazing, stepped up in January, really helped us out. So we're gonna make.
He's gonna bake you a cake.
No, we're gonna bake him a playlist for Friday night clip show. Is what we're gonna do, and let him pick his favorite Jesse Jet song. So he's gonna get to do that, and I think that's a cool way to kind of honor
it's
some
a piece of cake to make
some of the supporters. And then Natalie Williams was here before. She was on that list from Cash App, as was Anna Mayer. So thank you to everyone, really. If you want to be on that board, that's how you do it. Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, Substack at INNnewsletter.com. And those are ways to support with a little bit of a contribution, monthly or one time if you're able.
You can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen? To 50,000 died, and now we know our mission. We form a militia, make Congress a prison. No, I play civil when all these dead won't make you listen. What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me.
Who are these people?
Like I said, every week we kind of have been having to do a fuck Israel segment, and unfortunately, this is not a different week. So a couple of people I saw started to pick this story up yesterday, or starting last night and into today. I saw it on Friday when I was putting together the document for the show tonight, and I'm like, oh, this is going to have to be something we include. And I didn't think that a lot of people would actually catch it. This is out of an Israeli newsletter called 972 Magazine. And I don't subscribe to it normally, but someone shared it somewhere and it made it into my news feed. And that's kind of where I went with this. And I went, oh boy. So they're now finally admitting that they knew that dropping the bombs would gas anybody in the tunnels that were underneath. And of course, would kill all the people in the buildings above that they bombed. I don't think this is much of a surprise, but now you literally have an Israeli general on the record
saying what they said.
Right. So this is, again, just published the other day in 972. The Israeli army intensively bombarded residential areas in Gaza when it lacked intelligence on the exact location of Hamas commanders hiding underground, and intentionally weaponized toxic byproducts of bombs to suffocate militants in their tunnels, also hostages, but they don't want to say that. And that's what the investigation by 972 and Local Call can reveal. That's what they're allowed to reveal. They're proud of this. The investigation, based on conversations with 15 military intelligence and Shin Bet officers who've been involved with tunnel targeting operations since October 7th, exposes how this strategy aimed to compensate for the Army's inability to pinpoint targets in Hamas's subterranean tunnel network. When targeting senior commanders in the group, the Israeli military authorized the killing of triple-digit numbers of Palestinian civilians as collateral damage and maintained close real-time coordination with U.S. officials regarding the expected casualty figures. Now, I'm going to stop there for 1 second.
Yeah, we killed him, but trust us, this guy was horrid.
Abu Bakr Abed, journalist on the ground, said that, look, you can't necessarily believe anything that 972 and Haaretz say, because they're funded and representing of Zionists still. Even though they're telling the truth, they may be telling the truth, it's all told with a disgusting bias and slant. And it's sometimes trying to justify what they're saying, or they're proud of it. And it's not, it's the opposite of what we would want. But at least we're getting the information. Like they said here, some of the strikes, which are the deadliest in the war and often used American bombs, yes, we are responsible, are known to have killed Israeli hostages. Like I said, they killed Israelis, despite concerns raised ahead of time by military officers and the families of the hostages. Moreover, the lack of precise intelligence meant that in at least 3 major strikes, the army dropped several 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs that killed scores of civilians, which we know they didn't care, part of a strategy known as tiling, without succeeding in killing the intended target. So they dropped all this stuff, and they didn't even get who they wanted to get. Oh well, no repercussions, no consequences. Quote, pinpointing a target inside a tunnel is hard, so you attack a wide radius. Yeah. That's what pussies do. Given that the army would only have a vague approximation of the target's location, the source explained, this radius would be as large as tens and sometimes hundreds of meters, meaning these bombing operations collapsed multiple apartment buildings on their occupants without warning. Yeah, thanks, assholes. We saw the footage of that, the drone footage of that shit back in October and November of 2023.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
Max Blumenthal and the Gray Zone had somebody's drone footage that was just bone-chilling. And he narrates it, and it's awful.
Pretty bad.
Quote, suddenly you see how someone in the IDF really behaves when given the opportunity to wipe out an entire residential block, and they do it. The investigation also reveals...
Free Palestine.
Yeah, not them. The investigation also reveals how Israel has known for years that the use of bunker buster bombs releases the lethal gas carbon monoxide as a byproduct, which of course does kill people inside a tunnel through asphyxiation, even at a distance of hundreds of meters from the strike location. After discovering this by chance in 2017, the army first tested it as a strategy in Gaza in 2021, these motherfuckers, and employed it in its efforts to kill Hamas commanders after October 7th. This way, the army could attack
as well
targets.
as, by the way, flooding the tunnels with seawater and concrete. They did both. Like, they give 2 shits about those hostages. They do not care if they come back alive.
Nope.
They don't care.
Actually, they kind of prefer they don't, because then they can say whatever they want about what happened to them.
Yeah.
All right.
So
this way, the army could attack targets without knowing their precise location and without having to rely on direct hits. Yeah, they just wipe out everybody in the area. Drop a fucking massive bomb.
Yes.
You know, it's literally like
bunker
dropping
buster.
a bomb. Yes, a bunker buster.
Yes.
On thousands of children.
Which,
like, they don't...
1,000-pound bombs, illegal to use, yet we're still going to give them to them. And not only that, but we also decided, well, 1,000 clearly isn't enough, even though it's already illegal. How about a 2,000-pound bomb? How about you take that too?
The Hague has access to this, you know.
Not good enough. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And here's this brigadier general, Guy Hazut. All right. The only source willing to be named. All right. The gas stays underground and people suffocate. We realized we could effectively target anyone underground using the Air Force's bunker buster bombs, which, if they don't destroy the tunnel, release gases that kill anyone inside. The tunnel then becomes a death trap. Nice guy.
Yeah. Someone should go smell a backpack over there and see if it's, in
January,
see if it's poison.
A year ago, January, a spokesman for the Israeli army, after they'd already been murdering Palestinians daily for 4 months, told 972 in local call in response to a previous investigation that it has never used and does not currently use byproducts of bomb deployment to harm its targets. And there is no such technique in the IDF. Oh. Yet our new investigation reveals that the Air Force conducted physiochemical research on the effect of gas in enclosed spaces, and the military has deliberated over the method's ethical implications. So they knew it, they tested it, and they argued over whether they should use it, and then decided, fuck it, we're going to use it, while denying that they did it the whole time. But Israelis never lie. Just remember that. They never lie. 3 Israeli hostages, and this was the narrative, and this made me fucking crazy this week. I'll talk about this afterwards. But 3 Israeli hostages, Nick Bezier, Ron Sherman, and Elia Toledano, were definitively killed by asphyxiation as a result of a November 10th, 2023 bombing that targeted Ahmed Gandour, a Hamas brigade commander in northern Gaza. The army told their families that at the time of bombing, it was unaware that the hostages were being held near Gandour. However, 3 sources with knowledge of the strike, which was led by the Shin Bet, told 972 in local call there was ambiguous intelligence indicating that hostages might be in the vicinity, yet the attack was still authorized because it was a Hannibal. There was Hannibal directive ordered anywhere possible. If you could take out Hamas in any way, shape, or form, it did not matter if there were hostages there or not. Take them out. And that's allegedly not the directive. The directive is to avoid Israeli soldiers being captured, but we all know that they've twisted that interpretation to suit their needs whenever they felt like it. Again, according to 6 sources, this was not an isolated case, but one of dozens of Israeli airstrikes that likely endangered or killed hostages. Of course it is. They described how the military command green-lighted attacks on the homes of suspected kidnappers and the tunnels from which senior Hamas figures were directing the fighting. How did they know which tunnels they were in and not just send in people to go get them? Weird.
Well, they're very aware of tunnels. They know tunnels really well.
Secret tunnels. But that's under Brooklyn. That's not under Gaza.
Yeah, I love how no more investigations into those tunnels happened. I love how that
Yeah. While attacks were aborted, while there was specific definitive intelligence indicating the presence of a hostage, the army routinely authorized strikes when the intelligence picture was murky and there was a general likelihood that hostages were present in the vicinity of a target. Well, mistakes definitely happened and we bombed hostages, one intelligence source said. At least they're willing to admit it. I hope they can sleep well at night. Actually, I hope they can't. Israel's efforts to maximize the chances of killing senior militants hiding underground also included attempts to crush parts of a tunnel network and trap the targets inside. Sources described incidents where vehicles fleeing an attack site were bombed without specific intelligence about who was inside, like the World Central Kitchen people, even when they had that intelligence, based on the assumption that a senior Hamas figure might be trying to escape. That was what they said about one of the... Was that Hind Rajab? Was that they said that one of the people in her ambulance was a Hamas person trying to escape? So they had to shoot her 355 Allegedly. Times while she's crying for help?
That is correct. From a tank.
Quote, the entire region felt that
they could clearly...
Yep.
With that tank had optics that they could see, the hair on a fly if they needed to. They knew exactly what they were shooting at.
Yep.
But yes, continue.
Quote, the entire region felt felt and heard the explosions. Abdel Hadi Okal, which is a Palestinian journalist from Jabalia, who witnessed several major Israeli bombing operations. Now, Jabalia, I believe, is in the West Bank, which is also right now getting destroyed and cleansed.
Destroyed. Right? That is correct.
Palestinians refer to
during
these bombing
ceasefire
operations as fire belts during the early weeks of the war. All right. Entire residential blocks were targeted with heavy missiles, causing buildings to collapse and fall on top of each other. Ambulances and civil defense vehicles were unable to contend with the scale of the bombardment, so people had to use their hands and some light equipment to pull bodies from the rubble of houses. There was no possibility for anyone to survive. Bunker busters, baby. That's what.
And now they're finding decapitated heads and all sorts of stuff in the, what do they call it? Some corridor.
Yep. In the
it's where all
in the Netzarim corridor. All right.
That's it. Yeah, where they were having barbecues and free lattes.
Okay, this is
right next to piles of Palestinian bodies.
Again, a long article about how they knew and what the plan was to gas the tunnels.
Mm.
All right. I had an issue with how some people were willing to do absolutely anything to achieve that objective. The number of civilians they were willing to kill, the way they saw it, everything was just an obstacle in their way, even the hostages. Yeah.
Yeah. That is correct.
If they don't know where the hostages are and still bomb
I'm surprised
tunnels,
they didn't just...
It's a policy, yep.
Start using Zyklon B instead of carbon dioxide. Just go full bore.
Again, I'm not reading through this whole thing, obviously. There's another one. The bodies of their, what does that say? Palestinians wait to receive the bodies of their relatives killed in an Israeli airstrike at Al-Najjar. And this was December 7th, 2023. I think Rafat might be in there.
Yeah.
I think Rafat al-Rear might be in there. Oh, man. Okay. So that was part one of Fuck Israel. Read this. I'll put this in the description afterwards. Part two. We knew it all along, and you guys have been covering it on INN News, but we finally got admission from Yoav Gallant that yes, Israeli forces they used attack helicopters, drones, and tanks to kill their own civilians and soldiers while blaming the deaths on Hamas on October 7th. You didn't think those cars were all shot up by rocket fire, did you?
Mm-hmm.
No, that cannot be done. Hamas does not have enough rockets to do that to every car in the area. Sorry. That's done by tank fire and Apache helicopter.
Funny enough, those Apache helicopters ran out of ammunition that day and went to go re-up. So,
gross.
A lot of rockets.
Right? So, if the post includes a screenshot of an article but not a link, don't accept at face value. Correct. However, this is from the Cradle. You can find this. And Amazon Piss Jugs, Jeremy Ward, good friend of the show. He's actually on our Wall of Fame. Good peeps. He doesn't screw around with that. He'll put the link. All right. And I'm
sure
why
someone
did he put the
already
link? Probably because of, my guess would be because it pushes the post down and it got 1,000 views and it won't go anywhere if you put a link anywhere. So, So what happened here? Let's see. Again, Haaretz, and like our friend Abu Bakr said, take what they say with a grain of salt at Haaretz as well as at 972, because they still do represent Israel and Zionists, and they still have to adhere to the rules of what the Zionists and the Israelis require, and they don't have a free press there. They claim it. No, not really. So, again, July 7th, 2024, IDF ordered Hannibal directive on October 7th, and that was Haaretz then. Just reminding people that we've known this for months and months, all right, and that the Hannibal directive was issued tactically and in various places next to Gaza. Gallant told Channel 12 on Thursday. In other places, it was not given, and that is a problem. All right. Questioning Gallant, the Hannibal directive says to shoot to kill when there's a vehicle containing an Israeli hostage, a characterization he did not contest. This is his first interview since he was fired in November and had a spat with his girlfriend, Bibi, because they're all bitches. Now, Brad Pierce, our friend, the Wayward Rabbler, wrote about this at the Libertarian Institute way back when and put a fair amount of effort into finding Western media references. Indeed, total blackout on that. All right. And I believe I actually have the video. No, I don't have the video, but I do have somebody pointing out under Jeremy's post that Max actually and the Gray Zone had this right about shelling Israeli citizens with tanks back in October of 2023. Shout out to the Gray Zone on this one. October 27th. And they got crushed in corporate media for this and called every name in the book from October 7th, rape and genocide denialists, or Holocaust denialists and self-hating Jews. But they had the story then, all right, that Tuval Escapa set up a hotline to coordinate between kibbutz residents and the Israeli army. He told Haaretz that as desperation began to set in, the commanders in the field made difficult decisions, including shelling houses on their occupants in order to eliminate the terrorists along with the hostages. We knew it then. They were ordered to do that. It was called the Hannibal Directive.
Yeah.
And Israel spent 15 months denying it. That's the fact, Jack. All right. And again, as David Shane and Ali Abu Nima reported in EI, Porat described very, very heavy crossfire and Israeli tank shelling, which led to many casualties among Israelis. Yeah. And that Hamas did not abuse us. We were treated very humanely. No one treated us violently. Now, the thing that I really wanted to also talk about was that I checked it on my own personal Facebook account where I still have friends in my old life that are Zionists and Israel lovers and supporters, and I don't engage with them, but I don't unfriend them or anything because I'm barely there. And plus, it's always good to check in and see what people are saying on the other side. And they were crying this week about three Israeli hostages that came back emaciated and weakened and very thin. And they were saying, oh, the barbarity of this. And it's like, you know what? That's what Israel did to every single person in Gaza. Yeah. There's a total disconnect to what they did, why they looked like that now after all that time, and that their captors around them also look that kind of thin. And then that kind of emaciated, right? Right.
On top of, there's actual footage of hostages, of the recent hostages that got released, saying they ate what we ate. Like, we were offered the best treatment. So I bet you if you asked those individuals, they'd be like, no, they gave us what they had,
And all the women said that,
there's a reason that they don't have much.
The women said that they made sure that they were covered up and that they, that they had hijabs and they treated them with respect and that they realized it wasn't about them. Now, what I wanted to do was I brought up last night, I was talking about this. I said, holy shit, the Zionist gaslighting. They're crying that the hostages were returned thinner and Hamas starved the hostages. Are you fucking kidding me? As if Israel wasn't starving the entire Gaza Strip with blocking the aid trucks. Maybe their hostages would have been better nourished. Wow. It makes me cry that the normies I know in my life are brainwashed about this shit, and more than one. Glad I check in on that side of Facebook only about once a week. Yoink, Scoob. The propaganda is thick And they don't see any media not directly approved and guided by Israel, the ADL, and the lobby. They don't even know about, like, the Palestinians being held captive without trial right now. And if they were told, they'd be like, nah, okay, just give us our hostages back. It's a cycle of brainwashing. I said, nor do they question anything they're seeing because it just reinforces the biases that have been drilled into them since birth. That's really hard to overcome.
Yep.
Right? I said, you don't understand how they can go out of their way to make sure that they can't possibly see it at all. One iota of anything that would make them uncomfortable or question their world belief or their view that Israel is the end all be all and only doing the right thing all the time. To the point that they don't even understand why everyone else is so upset and they feel betrayed by America. I said, it's insane.
And they take it personally and it attaches to their victimization.
It's insane, but think of it as living in a bubble where the entire thing is turned around and twisted and they're 100% bought into that victimhood that we see for the manipulation it is, but they can't. And they have no idea that they're being lied to. Cult behavior. You know, I equate it very much to Scientology in a way. Like, they're bought in on Scientology. All right.
Never let anyone take your joy from you.
And then we have one of these op accounts. I'm not really sure about this account, so I'm not going to share it, but they put out a video showing...
Definitely not as suppressed as they would make it seem.
We're reminding people that that the Israelis were blocking aid trucks and taking the goods off the trucks to destroy any produce or any type of fresh goods. They were trying to block anesthesia and penicillin and basic medication and supplies from getting in. And that whole thing just disgusts me. The gaslighting and the fact that so many in this country don't want to pay attention to what's actually happening because it would hurt their view about what they've been told Israel is their whole life. And now the thing is, what happens if that's not the case? Nothing in your life changes, guys. Nothing in your life changes.
Look at the gaslight.
All right. Now, they believe that, well, because the Jews then don't have a homeland, that there's nowhere safe for a Jew to live. Well, if you're not fucking around, anywhere you live is safe for a Jew to live, from my understanding, as long as you're not in a hardcore Wahhabist Muslim country that has spent the last 75 years fighting Israel and the Zionists that have been spending 75 years conflating Zionism and Judaism. It's very confusing, very convoluted, and it's something that is making me, as an American Jew who is against all this shit, less safe on a daily basis and embarrassed to be affiliated with in any way, shape, or form. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. Like, it's affiliated with me, whether I like it or not. I mean, I can claim that I'm Italian, but nobody believes me.
Close enough.
So if you are able to, in any way, please share the stream, first of all. Take care of your friends, take care of your family, as Care Bear likes to say. But if you're able to, and you've got a few bucks, Cash App, $ Indie News Network is the easiest, best way to do that without fees. ko-fi.com/Indie News Network or paypal.me/Indie News Network eliminates the Ko-fi fee. And then Substack, that's our
shout
newsletter.
Out Care Bear, who gave us $5 earlier.
Hey, yeah, no, thank you, Care Bear.
Appreciate you, fam.
Hell yeah, brother. That's our wall of fame. Those are the best people in the world. Those are the people we live. Because guess what? They support our network. Who are these people? Well, there's their names right there. Those are the ones that have actually contributed and tipped our channel and tipped our live streams and are trying to contribute to the media they want to see and funding the media they want to see. Because corporate media ain't telling you stuff like that. These are the people that would help us get our reporting back if we ever got shut down. These are the amazing people that are on our wall of fame that support our channel, our network, and what we do here. They fund the media they want to see.
Show me the money!
We've got Cash App is $ Indie News Network. They'll be down in the ticker scrolling there. You've got co-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, and you can also subscribe monthly. Yes, that you can subscribe at INNnewsletter.com on a monthly or an annual basis. Certainly, we are demonetized, and YouTube doesn't like stories like that. So please, if you can,
will not be televised.
it certainly will not. But I don't also think that it will end up allowed on YouTube in the end, which is why we're working toward a self-hosting solution at some point that we're going to be able to direct everyone to a website, and then we'll be able to chat via a Discord server, and
modern problems require modern solutions.
All will hopefully be avoidable of the major censors, so we can keep saying what we want to say, and nobody's going to try to stop us. Support independent media because we need it more than ever.
Yep. Keep listening to what Boats had to tell you, fam. Good night.
Mwah. Ciao, baby.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen? 50,000 died, and now we know our mission. We form a militia, make Congress a prison. No, I play civil when all these dead won't make you listen. What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me.
Who are these people?
What happened this week? I'm gonna start. This is a terrorist attack that happened on American soil and nobody's talking about it. Wait, what? Yeah.
Terror, you say?
Norman Finkelstein. You guys know him, right? Everybody knows
I do believe so.
The good professor. So let me back this down a little bit so we can see the full thing.
Terrorism. Terror.
And make sure that the audio is on for all of us, which it is. Good. All right. And as you like to say,
speed.
Action.
Norman, how's it going? I got you a pager. Want a pager, Norman?
Jews were known for being smart.
Oof.
You know what?
Here's your pager, Norman.
You know what?
It's fucking Holocaust tonight, you piece of shit.
Okay. That's an act of terror.
You know, elbows are legal in the street. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but he's a pacifist.
You know?
He's like 70 and it's not going anywhere. Now, we're going to talk about the person that did that because he's been exposed. And we're going to talk about the organization that he's a part of, Betar US, and we're going to expose the shit out of that
Betar.
too.
We are from the planet Betar.
Thanks to our friend Gen X Girl, who then reminded people to report this to Twitter's safety because it is an act of terror, and the person whose account was doing this should be I don't see my reply there. See, they already marked it as spam.
Our planet's religious text promised your planet to us.
The person who did that
millennia
should be arrested.
ago.
That is literally an act of terror. So who is it? After openly making threats to Norman Finkelstein with a pager and a masked thug going to his speech, And the person that we have that guy on video right on the next thing. All right.
Yep.
Betar is now claiming that the police are threatening them. Okay. So Betar Milwaukee called in and said that they planned to attend the event at Milwaukee, at UW Milwaukee, despite threatening calls from police, right? And they're trying to silence Norman Finkelstein, right? So this person, Boris, so who is Boris? Boris is this cat.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah.
Zachariah Meller of Betar was arrested for violating his restraining order at another Finkelstein event.
Oof.
All right. He posted an 18-minute psychotic rant, which I edited down to 6 minutes for your sanity, which I will not play because it is
good,
disgraceful,
repulsive, I'm sure.
Any light whatsoever. Okay. So that was an adjunct to who this motherfucker is. All right. Who's representing the Betar organization. Betar, what? Yeah, well.
We are the lizards from planet Betar.
Here we go. Let's go down. Thanks to, again, shout out to Gen X Girl, who's been incredible in doing this work of doing the deep dives and getting into the ugliest of the ugly as to who these people are, what their connections are, how they're funded, and how they're helping each other and censor others in order to elevate the people around them and keep their messaging in the forefront and suppress other messaging and go after other people and terrorize them like they're terrorizing, like they just tried to terrorize Norman Finkelstein. Now he won't be, he can't be terrorized. He won't be back down, and it's ridiculous. But so who are they? Who are you? So you put together this handy graphic, all right, where either they're part of a government, they're an Israeli operative, they are a crime organization or a criminal, all right, and you have that all broken down, meaning that you start out with the Israeli operative World Zionist Congress or the Zionists of America Coalition, right? Now, today we're going to focus on this section right here, this Betar U.S. division, but that's only one of 4 divisions within the World Zionist Congress Coalition. You have, first of all, the American Friends of Judea and Samaria that have basically bought off all of these government organizations, government agents, all right, and
already using
government officials,
shitty names for Palestine and whatnot,
right, in order to push certain bills through that will restrict speech and equate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism and anti-Judaism.
We would never have foreign influence in our politics. How dare you try to say that that's the case?
All right. Then she describes the Zionist Organization of America, which is the original organization, by the way, that JFK tried to have classified in the 1960s early on as under FARA, which is why it says the FBI FARA violator is put there. All this will be made available in the chats afterwards, or in the description, and at the newsletter specifically. So Mort Klein is the president of the Zionists of America.
Mort.
All right. He also has links and direct ties in, and this World Zionist Congress is funding Betar USA. All right. And they're also funding the North Carolina Coalition for Israel. And they're a whole problematic thing that we're also going to get into tonight, too. But look at what Betar US is involved with. First of all, Irgun and the Jewish Defense League are both considered criminal organizations. Irgun is on the FBI terrorist watch list. All right. The Jewish Defense League is on the Justice Department's terrorism list. Now
what's that? They've been on our radar. What are they? How do they describe that again?
Yeah. They've been on our radar. Exactly, is usually what they're described as. Now, this gentleman if you want to describe Ron Tarosian. We're going to get into him. And again, Gen X Girl's done all the research on all these people and had them vetted, and all these are sourced with backup information and usually from their own quotes themselves, which is unbelievable. But Betar is also responsible for this Kahani Chai, all right, which is a specialty designated global terrorist organization. All right, direct links
not
to
a delicious spiced tea.
No, not at all.
Just to
Three
make
different
sure.
terrorist organizations, links to indictments with indicted Mayor Eric Adams with FARA violations there. All right, links to a Pornhub lawsuit for child pornography. And we're, again, going to get into all of this stuff. And guess who else is connected through the Chutzpah pack? Richie Bitchy Torres. Oh, yeah, he's touched by this, too. All right? For all you duopoly, anti-Zionists, yeah, Richie Torres is definitely connected to this. So what she says is, the World Zionist Congress is a parliament of the Jewish people comprised of Jews worldwide in a global government forum which convenes in Israel. This year, the World Zionist Congress is holding its 39th election for members of its parliament, and the extremist Zionist coalition is campaigning to represent U.S. Zionists. What a surprise. Both Christian and Jewish, by the way. All right. Now, a lot of these are just Jewish organizations. All right. Please vote for the ZOA coalition. All these different organizations. My God.
Oh.
Look at all these different labels and logos. Ezra USA and the One Israel Fund. The Likud Party. Save the West. All right. The National Jewish Advocacy Center. Some that sound very benign and benevolent. All right. That aren't at all.
Yes, but connected to Jewish terror pretty much at the core.
Right.
So,
pretty much. So she continues to say that this coalition is campaigning to represent U.S. Jewish Zionists. Per the rules, you have to be Jewish to participate. All right. Prominent members of this organization are ZOA, Betar, NORPAC, which is like APAC. All right. The Lawfare Project, they sue the world on behalf of Israel. Like I said, One Israel Fund, CAMRA, which is an Islamophobic org, the American Friends of Judea and Samaria, all right, looking to annex the West Bank. Just, yeah. All of them kind of put together. And then you've got this lady Sloan. So the coalition of Netanyahu and Doxing Americans rally. Several members of the ZOA coalition are staging a rally where members of Congress in support of Netanyahu. This is really funny because nobody showed up at this thing. It was literally like a box truck that had messaging on it instead of this, but it was paid for by all these organizations. And these two representatives were scheduled to show up. All right. Now, who's this Sloan Rashmuch? All right. She works for the Daily Wire. That's Ben Shapiro's organization. All right. Front Page Magazine, The Federalist, for which she receives money from one of Trump's top mega donors. Of course, they're all connected and interlinked. All right.
Yep.
Then here is the Daily Wire reporter posting a thread about how she took pics of all the student protesters and then sent them to an AI company. Lady. All right. So that they could be identified and then deported if they had some kind of a visa thing. All right. So
what?
Arrested for cyber stalking, very similar to what she does for Betar. North Carolina has cyber stalking laws which prohibit you from taking pics of people in stores and posting. Of course, she has enough connections to get the charges dropped. But very similar to the New York lawmaker who waved her gun at protesters, got arrested, and then the DA dropped the charges. Again, the dual justice system in play. Right? So we have somebody who is clearly privileged and running around and terrorizing Americans, terrorizing students who are exercising First Amendment rights to protest, because she doesn't like what they say, trying to get them in trouble or kicked out of the country.
Right.
Here it is when she's doxing and attacking the anti-Semite, the anti-genocide protesters and college students. This is back in May. All right. Israel-friendly CNN finally admits that the counter-protesters who violently attacked pro-Palestinian students were not students at the school. They were older Jewish men, Israeli citizens, and maybe we had some neo-Nazis. And there's 5 minutes of footage there back on May 16th. All right. There's the footage right there. She's pulling that from CNN. She does her background and research. She just shows you what's out there. All right. And then here's her thing about the Israel network that's targeting students. That again was back in last April. We covered a lot of this stuff. I don't know if it was her research, but we certainly covered a lot of what was happening at Columbia and nationwide. All right. Similar to Sloan, her alignment again, we're getting back into this. All right. Then her brain's fried. Part 2 is going to have more stuff. All right. Zionist media masquerading as right-wing news is a huge problem in America. Talking about Breitbart. While waiting for their terror rally tomorrow, Betar is looking to vandalize D.C. Hope Trump enjoys it, right? So, unbelievable. Right. So then she gets into who this Betar organization is even further. Right, again, wanting to rename the West Bank so they can annex it. And there's our Dale Gribble, the Gribble Report. That's our buddy over there.
He's not, but it's a Gribble.
That's not Dale. He's using a Gribble pick.
Yes.
So like I said,
Richie Torres.
The head of this Betar organization is this guy, Ron. Now, what's really messed up is the first time she posted this, they had it taken down and flagged for, I don't know if it was hate speech or, here it is.
Misinformation.
No, for may violate hateful conduct because they allegedly doxed him. All right. But here's who he is. He's the president of Betar. He was a member of Kahani Kai, which is a U.S. designated terrorist organization. He was a leader of Betar International, which has links to terrorist organizations Irgun and the JDL. He's trying to revive the ideology of Kahani Kai, Irgun, and JDL in the U.S. He's a candidate for the ZOA coalition to represent the U.S. Zionists at the World Zionist Council in Israel. An FBI agent FBI required the ZOA to register as an Israel foreign agent 7 times. All right. He's connected to Trump's. He's also connected to the DNC and the Clintons. Like we said, it's a uniparty. They all serve Israel. He's connected to many members of Congress, including Richie Torres. All right. He's also a registered foreign agent of Turkey. Okay. All right.
It makes sense.
Right? He's represented and worked with nefarious characters involved in sex trafficking, child porn, and revenge porn like Diddy and Pornhub. And Betar's director, Ross Glick, he's another disgusting individual.
Glick.
All right. And she's got all kinds of citations when you start going down this rabbit hole. There's also links to Jake Novak, and I believe he was a high up in government. Just not good, not good peeps, to say the least.
The Nazis changed, but they never went away.
Exactly. All right. Where is the rest of this? All right. That's again, that's the first thread. I have more here. All right. So Betar and ZOA, we're having an event to celebrate in DC, a rally. Right. Get the jihadis out of America, a deportation policy, right? Take a stand, make our voices heard. Nice. Right. And then we get into this Sloan, Rachmuch, All right. Here's the thing, changed it to noon. Right. Then I believe they showed up. I want to see where the thing is, the truck that was there. It was really pathetic. All right. Then you've also got the links to Eric Adams. All right. And the FARA violation with Turkey and why the Israel lobby is alarmed. Right. And I believe she published this one today about the part 3 about the FARA stuff. All right. Yeah. And this just goes down a deep, dark rabbit hole. All right.
Disgusting!
Mayor Eric Adams was indicted for bribery and corruption with Turkey.
Who are these people?
Really? With Turkey. Grand jury subpoenas were issued for Adams related to Israel, China, Qatar, South Korea, and Uzbekistan. He also took money from pro-Israel billionaires in exchange for the Columbia student protest arrest, which we also documented. And here is the New York Times showing the investigation into those 6 countries. All right. Then there's the link. And of course, there is that he's joined the Israel lobby, paid lawmakers to condemn free speech. And what was this? Through IHRA, right? He supports the Stop Anti-Semitism Hate Act or whatever it is, nonsense that they're just really trying to restrict speech and criticism of Israel. We know this already. All right.
Yeah.
Where is the rest of this thread, though, is what I'm looking for. Part 2 about Ron Terrorism. Because there's a lot more about this guy. And now I need to find it because she sent it over here. Again, shout out to Gen X Girl. Is this it? Thread app unroll. Let's see. Here he is. Here's all the different links and background image. One of the earliest records of his activities is his membership in Kahane Chai, where he was their campus director. They were designated a terrorist organization by the U.S. and Israeli governments after their murder spree, killing Americans. In this video, he's the master of ceremonies at a memorial for Meir Kahane, who's the founder of the terrorist organization. All right. Another member of Kahane Chai is Israel's Itamar Ben-Gvir. We know him, right? Ron and Ben-Gvir ascribe to Mayor Kahane's ideology, which is ethnic cleansing. All right. This is all about his rise to power and how he kind of rose to prominence. All right. It started under the Clinton administration, despite the fact that his ideology is extreme. Watch David Sheen, right? And this is a whole video that explains about how sought election advice from the biggest racists in the Jewish community. And that's why today, POTUS, Joe Biden, and VP Harris support the genocidal agenda of the Kahane movement, founded by Terrorism's hero. All right. Then you've got
Jewish rapscallion.
Well, in this case, he happens to be, but he's also a Zionist, which is the bigger problem. Ron's rise to money in business is through his PR company, 5WPR, where he's built a reputation as a ruthless guerrilla marketer and crisis PR agent to some of the world's most notorious people. P. Diddy was a client as well as Pornhub. Basically, he's like a damage control. Yeah, but he's a damage control specialist. Like, he comes in and makes sure that the damaged reputation somehow has a way to be rebuilt and starts smearing people all around them, usually unwarranted, to try to elevate or, minimize, to try to elevate the person around them or minimize the damages and the effects of the bad news that's happening to his client. All right. So then you've also got, here's his connection with Pornhub. 50 women reached a settlement in a suit claiming they were duped into filming girl videos for Girls Do Porn, a site owned by Pornhub. At least 6 were charged by attorneys. Few companies have done more to undermine the American family. He also blasted Terosian's involvement as the PR agent. Anyone on the right who cares or even claims to care about protecting the family should immediately sever ties with this individual. That was 5 years ago. Right?
Yeah.
And there's more about him there. Then he's, guess who? Bitchy Torres' top donor. Oh, yeah. Despite being a proclaimed far-right and conservative Zionist, aligning himself with Christian Zionists and attacking the DNC, Terosian was, for some reason, Richie Torres' top donor, helping him raise $150,000 this past election cycle. And, of course, famously, one of the people running against him was Jose Vega. I think Jose may have even gotten more votes than the Republican. I don't know. Richie was handpicked by the Israel lobby to represent them in Congress while in the Bronx, the poorest district in the U.S. Of course, they continue to suffer. Right? He was arrested for attacking and intimidating student protesters back at Syracuse University. That was a long time ago. That was in May. Now look at that at the Daily Orange.
Yeah.
He claimed to be the Zionist parents of Syracuse. All right, claimed to represent them because everything he does automatically, by definition, represents Zionists, I guess. And here's the receipts. Right, confirmed as a parent, arrested on Quad Sunday.
Legion of Doom.
Now, did he have a child enrolled there? I don't believe so. All right, he represents them, but I don't know if he actually has a child enrolled there. College parent arrested. I guess he might have been, but look who he's taking pictures with: Eric Adams.
Yep.
One parent especially aggressive in his verbal treatment of students. Like endangering students. So here's the Betar Jake Novak is a Betar spokesman. Right? That name sounds familiar. It's because Jake Novak attempted to extort Matt Gaetz' father for $25 million while working at the Israeli consulate as their media director. Again, documented. After the story went viral, the Israeli government distanced themselves from Novak, and he lost his job. And, of course, Betar soon hired him afterwards because they always take care of their own.
Why not?
Now, I don't know.
Yeah.
Look, this comes from Drop Site, but it does come from Jack. What's his name? I like Jack, and he usually is more accurate. I have to say this is not a Ryan Grimm story. All right, Novak is now the spokesperson. Yeah. Then you've got his connection to Ross Glick. Ross Glick is the Betar U.S. director arrested for revenge porn. Last week it was surfaced. Yes, Ross was that boyfriend. Gross. Here, look at this. All right, here you go. Oh, look at who he's pictured with. What a Manhattan CEO.
It's revenge porn with Fetterman? Man, that must have been interesting.
Ugh, gross. No, but he's the guy that. All right. Now also Betar has partnered with this Nesher AI. That's a whole a whole other rabbit hole. Now this guy, his name is apparently Ali Hassan Hawila, but he calls himself Eliyahu Hawila. All right, and then said that he was Orthodox, but he then said that he was a prominent figure in Lebanese Chosan. So he's a Muslim in Lebanon who converted, but this guy
sounds like a spy to me.
Yeah. He made a show of flying to Israel during Passover weekend 2022 so he could begin a conversion to Judaism. In subsequent interviews, he later claimed he learned that his mother was in fact Jewish. Not true, but okay.
All
right. This lame hoax. All right. And then this was also the guy, by the way, who tried to frame this lady. All right. And say that she was just deported or whatever. This was like from May. And this was debunked over and over. Like all these guys are getting is just owned over and over and over again. He says, and this came out today. Part 3 will focus on Ron Perosian and Eric Adams and Trump's DOJ working a deal to drop any charges against Eric Adams and the influence of Betar in helping make that happen. All right. She also talked about this ZM tabloid that has been doing incredible work as well into doing some of the digging here. And there's a much larger project at play in exposing a lot of these organizations in the way that they have been trying to dox and expose and, you know, hurt the people that are protesting and trying to stop genocide. We're starting to get some people on our side that know what they're doing and know how to find who these people are and tell who they are. And here's their background. Here's, again, what is Kahani Kai? I can't play the music. They murdered dozens of people, right, against Palestinians, Americans, and others. Remember when they did that skunk attack at Columbia University? That was this organization,
Vaguely,
Betar,
yes.
all right, where they...
Of course.
Yep. Here.
Synagogue. Unfortunately, this is not a happy event, and this is the yahrzeit of Rav Meir Kahana Zatzal, and I hope that on other occasions you'll come here for Simchas. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Ron Ben Israel, who will be the master of ceremonies. He is the campus coordinator of Kahana Chai. Mr. Ben Israel.
Kahana Chai.
Ben Israel means the son of Israel. Or Israel.
Yes. Friends, we are gathered here today
Romans.
for the 4th year that we have not had the greatest Jewish leader ever, Rabbi Meir Kahana. It was 4 years ago that an Arab terrorist killed our leader. Today we are gathered here. This will be the event of the year. Finally, we will raise a voice, and do more than raise a voice, to the outrage which is going on in Israel. As Jews are silent, and as we, the only noble people to raise a voice, are silenced. But they can't silence us. Kahana Chai, Kahana lives on. Kahana lives on. Something I'd like for all of you to keep in mind throughout this program is that it's not just enough to come here once a year and to send us your checks 3 times a year. We need your bodies here with us. Do not just say that Rabbi
More
Kahana
importantly,
was right.
we need your wallets with us.
Do not just say, yes, he was correct. Yes, the Arabs must go. Stay with us. Do something with us. Directly after this, we'll be having an emergency protest. There will be buses outside to take all of us to the Israeli consulate. We'll be joined by our international leader, Rabbi Binyamin Zev Kahana. He will be here with us. Please, we need your bodies here with us.
And as far as the Arabs, the transfer, they said it's not moral.
Oh God, the voice.
Rabbi Gallant said it's not moral. Is it moral to leave them in here and eat at us like a cancer?
My God, I went to go
now,
get the bread.
That mad dog he's doing to the Jews, what Rabbi Kahana wanted to do to the Arabs? The country has gone insane.
Man, that weird laugh lady
With
from
no further
Seinfeld
ado,
did not age well,
Binyamin
did she?
Zev Kahana.
Yeah, like, all right, so there's another 30 seconds of this. I don't even I think we've seen enough. Okay, again, this is all about like how he rose to power and prominence within, well, you can guess it's by representing the donor class and representing the Israel lobby and bringing a lot of these powerful organizations, powerful because they have been funding a lot of the coffers, and you could see all these different organizations, and every one of those organizations, by the way, can donate X amount to every campaign and does. And how are they getting funded? And there's a lot of questions as to a lot of this stuff. But there's also a lot of very wealthy Jewish Americans that are funding this stuff too. You can hear him kind of yelling at them, and that's, it's not just, all Israel, because a lot of the Israeli money is coming from here to begin with. The Bill Ackmans.
Controls the spice, controls the universe.
Right, so she even cites the thing with Zateo here. Torres has been happy to take money from wealthy businessmen. We know this. Yeah, real progressive guy.
What's that? The 45th rule of acquisition. What's that one?
Oof.
I have that somewhere. Where's that?
That is the 34th rule of acquisition states. Peace is good for business.
That's the 35th rule.
Oh, you're right. What's the 34th?
War is good for business. It's easy to get them confused.
Yes, it is.
All right.
War is good for business.
I need a shower after that. It's gross.
Yeah.
That whole rabbit hole of an organization that goes around. They also fund and arm and help strategize with the terrorists that attacked the students in the college protests that were camping out. They coordinate with cops to try to, again, terrorize innocent protesters that are exercising First Amendment rights to try to do what they can to let the political class know that they want that genocide stopped, because there's no other way for us to have any kind of voice that has any kind of impact whatsoever. Voting our way out of this ain't going to work. I hate to say it. So if you are able to, in any way, please share the stream, first of all. Take care of your friends, take care of your family, as Care Bear likes to say. But if you're able to, and you've got a few bucks, Cash App, $ Indie News Network is the easiest, best way to do that without fees. ko-fi.com/Indie News Network or paypal.me/Indie News Network eliminates the Ko-fi fee. And then Substack, that's our
shout
newsletter.
Out Care Bear, who gave us $5 earlier.
Hey, yeah, no, thank you, Care Bear.
Appreciate you, fam.
Hell yeah, brother. That's our wall of fame. Those are the best people in the world. Those are the people we live. Because guess what? They support our network. Who are these people? Well, there's their names right there. Those are the ones that have actually contributed and tipped our channel and tipped our live streams and are trying to contribute to the media they want to see and funding the media they want to see. Because corporate media ain't telling you stuff like that. These are the people that would help us get our reporting back if we ever got shut down. These are the amazing people that are on our wall of fame that support our channel, our network, and what we do here. They fund the media they want to see.
Show me the money!
We've got Cash App is $ Indie News Network. They'll be down in the ticker scrolling there. You've got ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, and you can also subscribe monthly. Yes, that you can subscribe at INNnewsletter.com on a monthly or an annual basis. Certainly, we are demonetized, and YouTube doesn't like stories like that. So please, if you can,
will not be televised.
It certainly will not. But I don't also think that it will end up allowed on YouTube in the end, which is why we're working toward a self-hosting solution at some point that we're going to be able to direct everyone to a website, and then we'll be able to chat via a Discord server, and
modern problems require modern solutions.
All will hopefully be avoidable of the major censors, so we can keep saying what we want to say, and nobody's going to try to stop us. Support independent media because we need it more than ever.
Yep. Keep listening to what Boats had to tell you, fam. Good night.
Mwah. Ciao, baby.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen? 50,000 died, and now we know our mission. We form a militia, make Congress a prison. No, I play civil when all these dead won't make you listen. What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me.
Who are these people?
We're up to the fuck Israel portion. So we're going to start with exactly how bad it is, but we're going to actually bring it. This might even be a little bit uplifting. I'm going to try to make it uplifting because this is actually from a Gaza resident on coming home, what he's experiencing. Rubble, sewage, desperation for clean water. This is Gaza after ceasefire. Shahad Ali for Truth Out. The ceasefire allowed many of us to taste a vegetable for the first time in months, but our fight for survival is acute. And I will say that if you go to on Substack chat for Council Estate Media, there are a whole host of Palestinian residents posting GoFundMes and pleas to support them as they rebuild. But my God, look at that. Ugh. So that's a man walking his bike through a leveled neighborhood in Khan Yunis the other day. So this is part of the series, Struggle and Solidarity, Writing Toward Palestinian Liberation. As the ceasefire in Gaza marks its fourth week and evacuees return to the north, many believe Gazans' suffering has ended. This is far from reality. However, this author truly believes that the ceasefire is crucial. It's allowed families to reunite after lengthy separation. He had the chance to see his aunt and uncle who were forced to evacuate to the south in the early days of the war. Even now, it feels surreal to have them back with him. Additionally, the ceasefire has allowed humanitarian aid and goods to enter the Gaza Strip. Markets are now stocked with food, and we had been deprived of for so long. Chicken, fruits, vegetables, and even chips and candy. For nearly a year, these were just distant dreams as starvation spread and we lived on little more than bread and canned food offering minimal nutrition. Now, for the first time, we can gather around the table to eat for enjoyment and not just survive. Look at that market.
And this is one of the Israeli hostages that Israel let go of. Right?
No, I don't know if this is one of the prisoners. No, I think this is. I
saw a video about that one.
Okay, I don't think that's him.
It's like one of the prisoners actually got to eat a meal with actual nutrients in it for once.
Right, but what he says is, yet despite alleviating some suffering, the ceasefire alone cannot undo the immense devastation inflicted on Gaza, naturally. Since the war began, the Israeli occupation has systematically worked to destroy the Strip, especially the north, by bombing entire neighborhoods, demolishing infrastructure, targeting water wells, dismantling roads, and cutting electricity and communication lines, literally destroying individual machines inside hospitals to make sure they did not work anymore. Gaza has been pushed back to the Stone Age, reduced to a landscape of rubble and ruin. Intentionally, let's just add. My neighborhood, Al Zaytun, one of the largest and most populated neighborhoods in the north, witnessed relentless bombardment and continuous military invasions. In November of 2024, when Israeli forces decided to expand to the Netzarim corridor, which my neighborhood surrounds, most residents were forced to evacuate. My neighborhood then became a staging ground for troops securing the corridor, The situation became extremely dangerous, and reaching the neighborhood was almost impossible. If anyone tried to go there, they would almost certainly be killed. And we saw that they had basically drawn a line in half, and that they were killing anything that moved was the description. During the ceasefire, people were finally able to reach it. My neighbors, eager to see their beloved neighborhood after months of displacement in the south, were devastated by the scale of destruction. The once vibrant area known for its olive trees and beautiful homes was unrecognizable. Houses were either completely destroyed, partially ruined, or burned beyond repair. None remained intact, and that was Israel's plan, to leave not a building standing. This devastation was not limited to my neighborhood. Most areas in the north, including Beit Hanun, Jabalia, and Beit Lahaya, suffered the same fate. For a moment, many in Gaza believed that returning to the north might end their suffering, but soon they discovered that it had been reduced to a wasteland. Instead of finding solace, they found themselves trapped in another war, a war of survival where any sense of life had ceased to exist. The struggle for water has become one of our greatest challenges. Thanks, Israel. Fucking assholes. With nowhere else to go, those who lost their homes pitched tents, previously used in the south, over the rubble of their homes. These flimsy shelters offered no relief from the scorching summer heat or bitter winter cold. Some started searching for available rooms in schools for shelter, but even that proved challenging as most schools in the north were overcrowded, with sometimes 3 or 4 families sharing one classroom under deteriorating conditions. This is what they are permitting and trying to act like is something benevolent that we're doing to help these people. My family and I are among those who lost their homes, but fortunately we secured a small apartment in another neighborhood called Al-Tufa. I assume that if we did not have this place, we would have been forced, with no alternative, to live either in a tent or in a classroom if we had managed to find one. Those whose homes were burned or partially destroyed wasted no time trying to make them livable again. For them, anything was better than life in a tent. My neighbor Abu Omar saw his house hit by 3 artillery shells, which demolished most of the exterior walls, leaving the interior exposed to the street. He tried to rebuild, but the cost of construction materials in Gaza is expensive. A single bag of cement costs $200. So he had to resort to makeshift repairs using plastic sheets and iron bars to close the gaps. Again, this is being done intentionally by Israel. I can't reiterate that enough. I might as well say it at the end of every sentence. Similarly, my neighbor Rasad's home was completely burned during the first Israeli invasion in the neighborhood. The fire left the walls weakened and on the verge of collapse. Still, she had no choice but to scrub away the blackened ash and continue living there. What else is she going to do? For her, even a damaged home was a blessing, a place that offers her and her children some shelter from the streets, though not much, and certainly no security. Beyond the destruction of homes, the lack of basic services has made daily life in the north even more unbearable. And again, thanks, Israel, for that. The struggle for water has become one of our greatest challenges. The Israeli occupation destroyed most of the water wells, leaving people desperate for any source of clean water. Some charity organizations began delivering water trucks to the devastated areas in the north, but they don't even arrive daily or on a predictable schedule, and the supply is often insufficient, because how the fuck can they possibly bring enough for everyone there? When Israel's rationing them to starvation plus levels intentionally. Still.
Sir, would you like a video to go with that?
No.
I have a video that goes with that.
Well, I'll put you on big screen.
About the water. Hold on. Let me find it. Keep going for a bit.
Okay.
And we'll circle back to it.
As a result,
it's here. I have it.
Many residents are unable to fill their water containers and are forced to walk long distances to secure water for drinking and daily use, which eats into their entire day of potentially rebuilding their house or finding food or whatever else they might need to be doing now that they have their lives back and the bombs aren't dropping every fucking 5 minutes, killing them wherever they are, making them run for their lives. And then they burn the tents after that. And then they drop another bomb where they go. I mean, we saw this for 16 months as they destroyed hospitals and murdered aid workers and and captured doctors and tortured them. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Charging devices, of course, has also become incredibly difficult.
I sent it to you.
Thank you. Most solar panels, the only source of power at this point, all right, because there is no electricity, all right.
Yep.
Most solar panels
just walk down to Electric Avenue and pick them up.
Have been, and the panels were destroyed in the war, and the few that remain are damaged, significantly reducing their efficiency. Of course, the high cost of solar equipment further compounds the issue. A single 600-watt solar panel costs up to $1,000, making it nearly impossible for most families to access a reliable source of electricity. So they all have to kind of pool their resources.
And it's not like I've used a couple. They're not like
great,
convenient and like, you know what I mean? They're not super efficient. Like you have to put them in the exact right spot. You got to move it in relation to the sun, like you can't have it in shade. You got to keep cleaning it because dust collects on it. Like
that's right, Mastermind. You have to rock down to Electric Avenue, but they can't here in Gaza, unfortunately. So here's the video that we've pulled from Palestine Online. The Israeli government and private companies strictly control water sources in the West Bank, restricting water access for Palestinians on the account of Israeli settlements. And here's 55 seconds.
I can't wash my hair because of the Israeli occupation. All of our tanks are out of water. We only get water every 15 to 20 days. Hence the tanks. And if you're out of luck until the next refill. These water tanks are a staple on Palestinian houses in the West Bank to combat the chronic water shortage. But the problem isn't that there's not enough water. The problem is even our water sources are under occupation, and it's all controlled by the Israeli government and private Israeli corporations, who allot Palestinians less water than the World Health Organization recommends. But why? What are they doing with all our water? Funneling it into neighboring illegal settlements, where Israelis have a continuous supply of water and consume more than double their Palestinian neighbors. And to top it off, the Israeli company that supplies Palestinians in Bethlehem and Hebron with 70% of our water is reducing that amount even more. I can't wash my hair because of the Israeli occupation.
So, getting back to this. Mobile phone signals and internet services are weak and scarce in most areas. They need eSIMs for that. Transportation is nearly non-existent, and when it's available, it's prohibitively expensive. As a result, we're forced to walk a long distance to reach Al-Shahaba Street in the heart of Gaza City to access a reliable connection at all. Sanitation services are almost non-existent, leaving piles of garbage to accumulate in the streets. With no other way to dispose of waste, people are forced to burn it. Sewage flows through the damaged roads. Of course, they don't have plumbing or running water, as the infrastructure is completely destroyed. The air is filled with the foul smell of sewage and the harsh fumes of burning trash. This reminds me of when they talked about New Orleans in the 1800s, and they didn't have plumbing and the place smelled like shit all the time. All right. This poses serious, and they built canals to deal with that. but they at least had water nearby. Poses serious health risks, including respiratory problems and dysentery. I'm sure they can't even get fucking toilet paper. The challenges we face in Gaza are overwhelming. Our hopes for recovery are rooted in the urgency of rebuilding, not just the physical structures, but the lives of the people who've endured so much. We need the international community to commit to rebuilding Gaza's infrastructure, supporting the people who've lost everything, and addressing the severe shortages of basic necessities. The problem is that the haves are not willing to do that. The road to recovery will not be long. Go ahead.
Well, it's just like, and that's if this holds. And it's on shaky ground. Like, you know what I mean?
No, Israel wants to break it. Big time.
Yeah.
They've
and
been
has
fighting
done
to break
already.
It.
Let's not forget that.
Admittedly. At over 250 times.
Literally, they admitted it.
Yep.
Right.
The 76th rule of acquisition.
The 76th?
Every once in a while, declare peace. It confuses the hell out of our enemies.
Gaza's resilience is unwavering, but it needs help to rise again. And this week, Egypt actually pledged that they had a plan to rebuild Gaza for the Palestinians. I don't know if that's going to be allowed to push, but I certainly hope so. Another thing I didn't want to ignore and wanted to showcase here was Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya. We've talked about him before a couple times. He was taken prisoner in late December by the IDF. He bravely refused to leave his hospital and was last seen walking into a tent, walking into a tank, and he was taken to one of the worst prisons there were, tortured. We now know, we have an update about what's happened to him and where he is now and what's going on. So this is from the news roundup from the Electronic Intifada, Nora Barrows Friedman. They are an Indie Media Award honoree, as is Truth Out, who that last article came from. We only go to the best of the best for these stories because it's so important to get this stuff right. Since the January 19th ceasefire in Gaza, Israel has violated the ceasefire in a myriad of ways, including by withholding the amounts of aid, fuel, and medical deliveries agreed upon under the ceasefire terms, restricting people's freedom of movement, and by continuing to attack and kill Palestinians. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone here. Again, I want to blow this up a little bit more. Euromed Human Rights Monitor has reported, quote, despite the declaration of a ceasefire, Israel continues to commit genocide in the Gaza Strip by denying Palestinians the basic necessities for survival and imposing conditions of life calculated to bring about their physical destruction. And you just heard that described in extensive detail from the previous article. The rights group added that more than 100 Palestinians have been killed since the ceasefire came into effect, including some who died from previous injuries during Israel's genocidal attacks, and at least 900 have been injured. On the 10th of February, Abu Obaida, the spokesperson for the Al-Qassam brigades now that they murdered the last one, the military wing of Hamas, announced that the planned release of Israeli captives would be postponed indefinitely unless Israel fulfilled its obligations and stopped its ceasefire violations. Hamas officials then submitted a report to mediators on the 11th of February listing 269 field violations by the Israeli military since the ceasefire, as well as the ongoing denials of aid and fuel deliveries. By the way, that number is already over 300. Also included on the list were several political violations. They included statements by...
Over 9,000!
Probably. They included statements by Israeli lawmakers urging the expulsion of Gaza's population and the ways Israeli prison authorities were subjecting Palestinian captives to assault and violence upon their release during the exchanges. Again, coming from the Israelis themselves. They're not denying it. They're happily admitting it. The only people denying it are Americans that are embarrassed by this. Israeli lawmakers then accused Hamas of violating the ceasefire themselves, the gaslighting motherfuckers, with U.S. President Donald Trump insinuating that Israel should cancel the ceasefire if the Israeli captives aren't released. But even the Israeli military admitted in Hebrew media that Hamas had not violated the terms. As Indie Media Award honoree Ali Abunimah pointed out, read it in Israel's mass circulation newspaper Ma'ariv. The Israeli army and security establishment confirmed that so far Hamas has not violated the ceasefire deal.
We're just innocent men.
Trucks filled with fuel, medical supplies, tents, caravans, heavy machinery and food have been set to enter the Gaza Strip, but it's unclear when these necessary supplies will arrive as agreed upon. Again, this was on the 11th. The article that we read before was from the 14th. So some of them started arriving. But Ali also said that this is exactly as I predicted the crisis would be resolved. Israel backs down from sabotaging the ceasefire and agrees to implement what it originally signed, but only after the resistance drew a clear line, hoping these genocidal wreckers don't come up with new nefarious schemes before Saturday, which of course they did. And then on Saturday, they then acted like their side was worse, and they put all the Palestinian hostages in these robes, this garb that had Israeli flags and Arabic writing that was derogatory toward the Palestinians.
Yes.
Gross.
Right. Like, it's like shit they would accuse Hamas of doing.
Yes.
Like, what?
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Right. IDF officially did withdraw from the Netzarim corridor, which bisected Gaza for more than a year. That's what we were talking about, cutting these Gaza in half.
A place where they barbecued and had lattes on the fucking bones of their victims. What? Like, they are finding bodies now, piles. It's like, anyway, Jesus Christ. Oh,
serenity now.
Right.
Oh.
By the 9th of February, the French news agency AFP and the Times of Israel jointly reported that a Gaza government official said that, quote, Israeli forces have dismantled their positions in military posts and have completely withdrawn their tanks from the Netzarim corridor on Salah al-Din Road, allowing vehicles to pass freely in both directions. That's good. The joint report added that an AFP journalist on the scene said there were no Israeli troops present on the corridor. That also worries me that they're preparing to drop more bombs. A full evacuation means that they may be preparing to declare that the ceasefire is over and drop more bombs, and so they don't want to potentially hit their own people. The Al Jazeera Arabic channel filmed footage of the wreckage left behind from the Israeli military after it withdrew from the Netzarim corridor. I don't want to play this because if I do, I could get in trouble. Al Jazeera has copyright claimed us in the past. In a statement, Hamas...
You violated the law.
I'm not going to do that. Hamas political party said that the withdrawal of the Zionist occupation army from the Netzarim axis is a victory for the will of our people. So they're hopeful, and that is the political wing of Hamas, not the military wing of Hamas. They are separate things.
Yeah.
And here we go with the medical equipment deliberately destroyed. Turning to the healthcare situation in Gaza, Caroline Seguin, the emergency coordinator for Doctors Without Borders, stated from northern Gaza on the 11th of February that the level of destruction is total. It's a flat land. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Our Palestinian colleagues are no longer able to recognize their own neighborhoods. Some were in shock. Others literally collapsed. This I can play. But I have to take the music down.
But not the music.
Health centers in Jabalia in the north. Destroyed in this war. There are no medical services provided to people, and they come to us. She started Sheikh Radwan primary health care to cope with the massive medical needs in North Gaza. The number of cases has increased by around 70 to 80% since the movement of people from the south to the north, to the extent that in the dressing room, we have to perform burn dressings on the same bed for multiple patients. For example, we receive cases with bodily injuries, amputations, fractures in the legs. They need care, physiotherapy, health promotion, and physiological intervention for the patient. They don't even have anesthesia. Look at this. We receive many children who are barefoot with no shoes, and they have problems with their toes. They have infected wounds in the detention. When we ask the parents if they can get treatment, they tell us no, it's very difficult. Of course it is. The lack of medical supplies, shelter, and food and water is critical in the north. MSF calls on Israel to ensure unhindered access for vital human survival. That's Doctors Without Borders. Which has its own
children
problems.
With no shoes on the feet.
I had to add this because it's something that likely will be coming up in the next day or so. And you'll see this on a lot of the shows. I'm hoping they'll cover this. We have confirmed with multiple patient reports that in the last 1 to 2 weeks that the Israeli government has unilaterally and sneakily begun forcing patients who medically evacuate from Gaza to sign paperwork at the exiting checkpoints saying they will not and cannot return. None of the NGOs helping with the coordination of the medical evacs were informed by the entity or any governing body that this would happen. Ethnic cleansing aside, mothers are being forced to leave their children behind to travel with a sick child, and almost every family is being forced to leave family members behind. And now they're being told they'll never be able to see them again. Not that the Israeli government cares, but this again violates international law, and given the document was signed under duress, it is unenforceable, meaning it's not worth the paper it was signed on. But not again like Israel gives a fuck. Further, this jeopardizes the entire medical evacuation enterprise in multiple ways. 1, countries will be much more reticent to accept medical evacs from Gaza. 2, all aiding countries will now be accused of being guilty of collaborating with Israel's ethnic cleansing crimes. And 3, this will upend Jordan's commitment to accept 2,000 patients and be blowback against Trump. This can stop as quickly as it started. Israel thinks we aren't paying attention, but of course we are. Pressure is needed on Israel to stop this illegal and sneaky practice. Thanks to our friend Abu Bakr and the Samir Project for sounding the alarm. So what did Abu Bakr have to say about this? Again, it's my job to reveal the truth, no matter the cost. I know many people have attacked me for this, but as a journalist, I know what I say. I can't let this ethnic cleansing scheme go past my pen. I know I'm probably the only one from Gaza talking against these organizations, but to be a journalist is to be a truth teller. For everyone who attacked me, may you learn from the lesson. Those who trusted me, thank you. Finally, Abu Bakr wants to leave a nice mark and give it all for his homeland within his accidental war reporting, because he's going to be a football journalist very soon. He was asked what his favorite football team was on the Electronic Intifada stream on Thursday, and he would not answer. He acted, what? I can't hear. Huh? He's trying to stay neutral. He doesn't want to give an answer. It was kind of adorable. You got to see that on the EI live stream from the other day. But, you know, this young man, go follow his Twitter account. He has been doing some live video reporting. You can see George Galloway had him on because some of his videos have just been wow. He's reporting for Press TV. He's reporting for the Electronic Intifada. There's 2 aid workers who were confirmed to be killed, or police members that were trying to keep the area safe, killed. Here he is talking with Abby Martin. But I wanted to bring the prisoner that was released.
Stop scrolling Twitter.
No, it's not. It's just scrolling. I want to show one of his videos from where he is in one of the camps. Hold on, while he's walking. Here it is.
The 3 Israeli captives have been released. They are on the stage, delivering a message to the Palestinian people, talking about their experiences and the captivity of the resistance. So that's what we are witnessing at the moment. Just 1 minute or so, they will be handed over to RCRC vehicles, and then they will be taken to the occupied Palestinian territory and Apache helicopter.
This is not one that I wanted. Actually, I wanted one of him walking through one of the neighborhoods. Here's one.
Streets inside Gaza. Of course, the street has seen great damage, great destruction, and I'm just walking around.
Let's look behind him.
The carnage, which is, of course, unbelievable. And at the same time, it's not only this, but because when you walk on the side or in one of the streets here in Gaza, what you are going to see is 2 things. The first is rubble, and the second is garbage, because the infrastructure has been struck and destroyed, and even all the buildings and houses, almost all of them have been hit by the Israeli military, and many villas here have also been demolished. Look at the carnage. It's unfathomable. It's insurmountable. Here's one of the banners.
This is Gaza City,
Palestine.
I would love to see what this looked like before, but it's only heartbreaking, honestly. I just wanted to share some of this. Please follow him. He's been doing some incredible reporting from on the ground and talking to actual Palestinians on the ground. I'm not crazy about some of the places that he chooses to write for and align himself with. I'll say that right now. But this kid is doing the work, and he doesn't want to be doing this work.
Just remember what the Intercept does to whistleblowers. That's all you got to remember. You know? So, and just follow those resumes.
Okay, so this concludes our Fuck Israel portion of the program, because I'm sick of talking about it now, but I wanted to give an update from the people who are there about what they're experiencing and what Israel did to them, because we can't forget, and we've got to hold them accountable. Israel must be held accountable for what they're doing here and what they've done, and how they're now trying to steal the land with Trump's help. YouTube does not like when we talk about this. So if you like seeing stories like this, please support the media you want to see. The ways to do that are Cash App, $, Indie News Network, Code-V.com/Indie News Network, PayPal.me/Indie News Network, and at our newsletter, INNnewsletter.com, where you can support monthly or annually with a subscription. But you can also subscribe free, and please do. We put out a daily update.
Whatever.
These are the incredible people that are our Wall of Fame. This week we got a annual subscription from Jack Farrell over at Indie Media Today. Thank you so much for that. And our friend James Arkazewski re-upped his monthly subscription over at both of the newsletters for INN as well as Indie Media Today. And we always appreciate that support. We are heavily suppressed. We are demonetized on YouTube because somebody once said that they might not be completely condemning an organization that now has deemed to not be friendly. No, not that one. It's the other thing. Super
safe.
It's hummus.
The safest.
We love hummus. We love to eat hummus. It is delicious. Hummus is delicious.
Hummus, delicious tahini spread
It
with
is
the za'atar. It's nice.
A
Very
little bit of garlic in there. Yum. All right. But these people have supported our channel and our network.
Sapricel.
They fund the media they want to see, and they support the media they want to see. Best ways to do that: Cash App, ko-fi.com/IndieNewsNetwork, PayPal, and Substack. I see Oaktown Girl in the chat.
Money, please.
Oaktown Girl, we work on a value for value system here. And that means that we don't do any ad reads and we don't do any sponsorships. We don't read out promo codes. Charlie Mack Friday night. That's right. Charlie Mack Friday night hooked us up. Natalie hooked us up Friday night. Kameshwari Kate. So many people, really. We're so grateful. And we work hard to try to bring a high quality of show and high quality information that hopefully you're not hearing elsewhere and perspective that you may not be getting elsewhere. And that's why we do what we do. These amazing people have not disrespected INN, but YouTube certainly has because they've demonetized our channel. The best ways to do it are there on that board. Cash App, $ Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/IndieNewsNetwork, paypal.me/IndieNewsNetwork, and INNnewsletter.com, where you can subscribe for free, but also support with a monthly or annual subscription. Money, please, as he likes to say with his little sound bit.
Money, please.
Thank you. So it is.
You gotta watch Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
First of all, but yes,
that's our wall of
Cash App,
fame.
Ko-fi,
PayPal, Substack. That's
all that
it.
stuff.
Yep. Hook us up if you can. If you're not, share the show. Share the damn
You know what?
show.
Don't.
So please, whatever.
Whatever, but here's the way to do that. Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, and Substack. Those are our links. Those are the people we love the most. A lot of them are hanging out right here. Support independent media, everyone. We just fucking lost the stream. No, you're too early on that. Support independent media, everyone.
Aww.
We're going to boats. I love y'all. We'll see you soon. Now you can do it.
Yeah. Bye-bye, fam.
Bye, Felicia.
No! We just fucking lost the stream! Thank you.
You can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen to 50,000 dead? And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. No, I play civil when all these dead won't make you listen. What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me.
Who are these people?
Author and activist, Canadian activist, you can see from the flag there, Yves Engler is spending the night in jail for speaking out against Zionism after prosecutors objected to his release. Another hearing is scheduled for tomorrow, but even then, his freedom is not guaranteed. We need to keep up the pressure. And this was on Thursday, all right, the 20th. Friday was the 21st. So what had happened was Yves got arrested. Why? Because he turned himself in. I'm going to bring the whole tweet. He turned himself in to Montreal police. He was told that he was going, and this is a 20-minute video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. But effectively, somebody, a Canadian citizen, a Zionist citizen, charged him with harassment. All right. They came to arrest him, to take him in on that charge. And when he posted that he was being arrested for it, they then promised new charges of harassing police and obstructing their work for tweeting it. Crazy. All right. So our friend the dissident, the 307.substack.com, wrote an article about this saying, and he's Canadian, he's from Toronto. So the lawfare campaign against pro-Palestinian speech comes to Canada. Right? Canada is now joining the long list of Western countries to begin criminalizing anti-genocide speech. So he starts by saying, let me blow this up a little bit more. All right. On his website, the Canadian writer and author of the books Canada's Long Fight Against Democracy and Stand on Guard for Whom, A People's History of the Canadian Military, Yves Engler wrote, "Tomorrow, the Montreal police will arrest me." The reason? He said it's because of his posting to social media against Israel's genocide in Gaza. He received a phone call from a Montreal police officer by the last name of Crivello, who asked him to come downtown to a downtown police station where I will be charged for harassment and indecent communication. He says, a complaint was submitted against me months ago by a legal firm on behalf of racist media personality Dahlia Kurtz. Crivello said I had described Kurtz as a genocide supporter and a fascist on Twitter. Guilty as charged. He is. He noted that on dozens of occasions, I've responded to her racist, violent anti-Palestinian posts on X. Before getting into the free speech issues, let's look at the facts. Dahlia Kurtz is a Canadian influencer who describes herself on her website as an award-winning radio talk show host, international speaker, and syndicated columnist. She's written for mainstream Canadian outlets like National Post. She hosts a radio show on Sirius XM and has over 40,000 followers on X. She is an open and proud supporter of Israel's mass murder campaign in Gaza. For context, Amnesty International has said that Israel is, quote, committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza and concluded a lengthy report that there is sufficient basis to conclude that Israel has committed and is continuing to commit genocide against Palestinians in the occupied Gaza Strip. And you can now add the West Bank to that now that they've started to send tanks in as of this morning. The report found that, quote, Israel has carried out acts prohibited under the Genocide Convention with the specific intent to destroy Palestinians in Gaza. Irrefutable. Human Rights Watch similarly concluded that, quote, Israeli authorities are responsible for the crime against humanity of extermination and for acts of genocide by, quote, inflicted conditions of life calculated to bring about the destruction of part of the population in Gaza by intentionally depriving of Palestinian civilians there of adequate access to water, most likely resulting in thousands of deaths. Also food and supplies, medical supplies. The International Court of Justice also found that it's plausible that Israel has committed acts that violate the Genocide Convention. What a joke. Of course they have. Kurtz is a strong supporter of a mass murder campaign that the world's top human rights organizations have concluded is a genocide, and the ICJ has concluded is a plausible genocide. Calling her a genocide supporter is not harassment and indecent communications. It's a fact. Furthermore, she herself has engaged in some truly vile rhetoric on social media and on her Twitter page, where she sports over 41,000 followers. For starters, she has repeatedly engaged in atrocity denial, minimizing the well-documented fact that Israel is intentionally starving civilians in Gaza. She shared a video to social media of Palestinians celebrating the ceasefire in Gaza and wrote, quote, super energetic starving children in Gaza dancing in their cozy, clean, and warm sweaters whilst clearly freezing to death. The adults choreographing the celebration are their genocided obese parents. Oh my God. In another tweet, she shared a video that purported to show a Palestinian child holding a gun. For context, Israel holds youth military training camps as well, stating, quote, "That kid in Gaza doesn't look malnourished to me. Regular meals supplemented with guns and hate," unquote. Just awful. I would say the same stuff to her that Yves is, by the way. For context, this is propaganda used to deny the well-documented fact that Israel has been deliberately starving civilians in Gaza. The International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant against Bibi Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for the war crime of starvation as a method of warfare. The UN has also said that the Israeli blockade has caused, quote, 1 in 4 people to be starving and 9 out of 10 families in some areas to spend a day and night without food. And we read some of their stories last week. The, quote, integrated food security phase classification also found that the blockade would cause all 2 million people in Gaza to face acute food insecurity, with at least 1 in 4 households facing famine-like conditions. Yep, intentionally. It's called Starvation Plus, and it's a policy of Israel. Yep. Kurtz has also spread fake news to justify civilian casualties in Gaza. On Twitter, she published a fake news story without providing a link, stating, quote, "news," and I don't even want to say this because it's fake news and I don't want to get our channel popped for misinformation, but because it's in support of Israel, it probably wouldn't be. She claimed lyingly that about half of Gaza was aware of and involved in the October 7th massacre. That's ridiculous. Quote,
insane.
Quote, terror network Al Jazeera published a propaganda program about the plan for October 7th with the order, time, and day and time of 6:30 a.m. Instructions were disseminated amongst the innocent civilians of Gaza. Absolute fucking lie. This is clearly propaganda used to justify Israel's mass targeting of civilians in Gaza. It's reminiscent of videos the Israeli government has posted to social media that claim there are no innocent civilians in Gaza, which is also insane because infants are definitely not innocent, right? Israel? Insane.
Mm-hmm.
This is propaganda to justify Israel's targeting of civilians in Gaza, where the Geneva-based human rights organization's Euromed Monitor found that 9 out of every 10 people killed by Israel in Gaza are civilians, and the UN found that 70% of people killed are women and children. The ages most represented among the dead were 5 to 9-year-olds, and 80% of the victims were killed in residential buildings or similar housing, or they were sniped on the street by the IDF. Kurtz also supports the complete ethnic cleansing and annexation of Gaza. In response to Donald Trump's call to take over Gaza and force Palestinians into Jordan, Egypt, or other places, she said, "Goodbye, Gaza Strip. Hello, MAGA Strip." She's also on record saying that Gaza is not a country. Oh, yeah, she's just the worst. All right. So she had a journalist locked up, this cunt. Dahlia Kurtz has also engaged in extreme dehumanizing rhetoric. At one tweet, he called former Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar a rat and tweeted the dead rat of Gaza after he was killed. That's literally what they call people anti-Semites for tweeting about Jews. But she can do it about a Palestinian, and she's just fine. Kurtz has also extended this type of rhetoric to her political opponents. She quoted a clip from the Piers Morgan show where the Israeli intelligence asset Mohad Hassan Yosef called the political commentator Cenk Uygur a parasite for his support of Palestine, and which Cenk doesn't even really support Palestine. He claims he does, but then he supports the Democrats who don't, so he doesn't really. He wants to, but he can't really. He also has repeatedly called for pro-Palestinian protesters to be deported to Gaza, like, even though they're American, and she's not, while it was being bombed by Israel. Insane. She once tweeted out, "Now it's time to send all those death-chanting Intifada University students to Gaza." How about we send her to Gaza? How about we send her to the West Bank? Without any armor. or weapons. In response to an anti-Zionist Jewish protest that took place against the genocide in Gaza at Canada's Parliament building, she said, quote, "These quote-unquote Jews love Gaza so much, I have no problem sending them all there with my own money. It's an investment."
No, she won't. She wouldn't.
Nope. In response to a university campus protest against the genocide in Gaza, she said, quote, "They clearly belong together in Gaza." Of all the lawfare campaigns I've covered against pro-Palestine figures, this one has to take the cake for the most ludicrous yet. Yves Engler has criticized a public figure who has denied documented war crimes, spread fake news to justify the murder of civilians, called for the ethnic cleansing of Gaza, called her political opponents parasites, and called to deport her political opponents to Gaza. And for this, he's being arrested for, quote, harassment and indecent communication.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the Montreal police are going along with this case is truly terrifying. But it's part of a much larger lawfare campaign against those who oppose the genocide in Gaza. Like we've documented well on this show, the UK government has now gone after Richard Medhurst, Richard Barnard, Sarah Wilkinson, Asa Winstanley, and Miko Peled for their reporting and activism on Palestine. Switzerland briefly jailed journalist Ali Abu Nima when he was supposed to give a talk in Palestine in the country. And Germany also issued a warrant for his arrest last April when he gave a speech remotely, in July. Austria has recently joined the British legal case against journalist Richard Medhurst for his reporting on Palestine. This new case against Yves Engler is just the latest development in the growing criminalization of pro-Palestine and anti-genocide speech in the Western world. This is a really good piece I like by the dissident. Support independent media, support our friend, the 307.substack.com. I believe he is trying to go full time. He set up a Patreon last week, but you can subscribe here over on Substack as well. He's got paid subs turned on. All right. Who the hell starts her bio with, "I'm a Jew and granddaughter of Holocaust survivors"? Is that the new get out of jail free card? Terrible. Just terrible stuff. So getting back to Yves, here's his tweet the other day. You can't make this up. Initially, the Montreal police accused me of harassing an anti-Palestinian media personality because I posted about Israel's genocide. Now they're charging me for harassing the police for writing about the charges leveled against me. At 9:30 a.m. tomorrow, the Montreal police are set to arrest me. Today, an officer told me they will detain me overnight or until I'm brought before a judge. And guess when they did it? What day of the week? Friday.
Friday.
You know why? Because they can hold him for the whole fucking weekend and he's still sitting in jail right now. Here's the story again. On Tuesday, a police investigator, Crivello, said they were charging me at the behest of anti-Palestinian activist Dahlia Kurtz. The police officer said I had described her as a genocide supporter and fascist on Twitter, which is true. I promptly wrote about the charges, and the Canadian Foreign Policy Institute organized an email letter campaign which saw 2,500 outraged people call on the cops to drop the Kurtz-sponsored charges. Angry at receiving emails
right away.
Well, here's what happened. Angry at receiving emails and my article, the police were seeking release conditions, barring me from discussing the charges leveled against me. The police are now claiming I'm victimizing them. They're Israeling themselves. Today, a new investigator called to say investigator Crivello feels threatened by my writing about the charges leveled against me.
Oh, it's scary.
The Montreal police will be charging me with intimidation, harassment, harassing communication, and entrave, which is interference, towards Crivello. The police investigator also announced that they will be holding me overnight out of fear that I may relapse. In other words, I might once again write about the absurd charges leveled against me. Guilty as charged. Over the past 24 hours, I've received multiple messages about frivolous cases brought against others opposing genocide. The abuse of police and legal system to target opponents of genocide is a greater problem than I realized. I'm trying to make sense of Kurtz's bizarre bid not to block me on X, but claim I'm harassing her. Perhaps she's trying to monetize her status as a victim of hate. On her site, she writes, quote, "If you want to help save Canada from hate and extremism, please donate by e-transfer to me." After working for... She claims that after years of working for media outlets, she's now independent, so she can say the truth. Oh, this sounds like somebody that the song Pull String was written about. All right. This also means her personal security is under constant threat. So you can make a difference. My work is funded solely by your support. Her personal security isn't under threat. Nobody's threatening anything on her security. They called her a fascist genocide supporter and a genocide denier and an Israel supporter. I mean, Jesus Christ. A lawyer is looking into pursuing legal action against Kurtz, but it's the police that really need to be held accountable. The initial charges were an abuse of state authority, and adding new charges for criticizing them is beyond absurd. The Montreal police apparently have no qualms about acting in service of Israel's slaughter in Gaza. More than 100,000 have been killed, and almost everyone has been displaced. About 70% of the buildings are destroyed, and most agricultural land damaged. The police targeting opposition to Israel's crimes is an embarrassment. The particular charges are ridiculous. The notion that someone can publicly attack Palestinians, repeatedly call Canada's prime minister an anti-Semite and supporter of terror, engage in a Conservative Party candidate as a lawyer to convince police to lay charges and authorities to go along with it, simply incredible. Then for police to claim they're being victimized by emails critical of the ridiculous charges, I'm at a loss for words. What parallel universe have we slipped into? Well, it's a Nazi universe, Yves. Please email the Montreal mayor and police chief to demand they drop the charges against Yves Engler. If you're in Montreal, some people will be accompanying him when he is detained in the morning. So he wrote this Wednesday night. He goes Thursday and turns himself in. All right, that's this video here. And again, we're not going to play it.
Drop the charges!
I'll go through it. You know, he's got people around him, and then he gives a speech, and he explains what's happening to him, and then he goes and turns himself in, gets arrested, and they take him away. So then what had happened, Alex Tyrell, who's apparently his friend who's reporting on what's happening, this afternoon at 2:45, and this was, I believe, Thursday on the 20th. This afternoon at 2:45, Yves Engler appeared in court via video link on charges related to his criticisms of a Zionist media personality. The Crown opposed his release without providing a reason. A bail hearing was set for tomorrow, meaning he will spend the night in jail. Engler appeared without his glasses, struggling to see the screen. When asked if he had legal representation, he confirmed that he was represented by lawyer John Philpott, but then cut off mid-sentence when attempting to discuss conditions. When he asked why his release was opposed, the judge dismissed his question, saying it was at the prosecutor's discretion and advised him not to speak. Very Kafkaesque. A not guilty plea was recorded. When Yves tried to ask about his political rights, the judge again cut him off, and he was quickly led out of the room. To support him on his website, please donate, yvesengler.com/donate. All right, I'm going to put that in the chat for everyone. All right, and unbelievable what's going on here. And he is, again, still in jail for the weekend. I saw on the Gray Zone stream, and Aaron Mate even tweeted out about it. Here, update. Where is it? I could have sworn I saw something where on the 21st or the 22nd, they also reported that he was still in jail. He has not tweeted since. And I don't know if that's because he's afraid he's going to get arrested again, or if he isn't even out of jail yet. But this was the last tweet that... Oh, here we go. Yves' father here, providing an update, who is currently detained at Bordeaux jail until at least Monday. Today, the prosecutors refused to free him unless he would agree not to speak publicly about the case, including naming directly or indirectly the influencer who filed the complaint against him. Why should he?
Right.
Yves will have a bail hearing Monday at 9 a.m. He's called for supporters to attend. The hearing will determine whether or not he will be freed pending trial and if he will be allowed to write in detail about what is happening to him, including naming the complaint and the police officer who have accused him of harassment, even though he's already done that. He has no interest in naming the police officer, but insists that he should be able to name the influencer who regularly publishes hateful anti-Palestinian content online. If you support him, please come to the Palace de Justice at 1 Notre Dame East at room 312 on Monday at 9 a.m. You can also support his work by donating at his website. And this is crazy. I mean, this is crazy town we're at, people. We're taking crazy pills here.
Yep. Am I taking crazy pills?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. For real. Like, what the fuck is going on here? That they're like, we're calling out. Are they going to start suing U.S. citizens for harassing tweets on as well? I mean, that's worrisome. I mean, using lawfare in Canada, they've obviously found some Canadian law. I believe that it's why they're trying to pass a lot of these stop anti-Semitism laws in the United States right now.
Yep.
Okay, to criminalize supporting any Palestinians at all, that they're all of a sudden going to deem any Palestinian whatsoever a terrorist, which is also insane. How is a 6-month-old baby a terrorist? Explain that to me. Square that circle. You go ahead. Other than to say, well, they're going to grow up to terrorize us. Well, why would they possibly do that? What kind of motivation would you be giving them to do that? A 6-month-old baby would have motivation to want to grow up and kill you? Why? I can't imagine. I can't. Well, Desert Mantis. Oh, God. I was killed by a 6-month-old baby once. Well, that is that must be Israel's position. All right. I can't imagine their other excuses. Yeah, praying for him, and it sucks what's going on there, for sure. Yeah, eveengel.com/donate if you are able to and of means as well. He certainly is going to need legal support and help to fight this, because he's got the Zionists fighting against him, and we know the Zionists. I used to be one. They love their lawyers. I would like to make an appeal to everyone. If you are able and are of means, please support the media you want to see. These people already have. Thank you so much to everybody who has supported and tipped us and hooked us up. This week, I remember clearly Charlie Mack on Friday night, as well as Sean, definitely hooked us up. We got some PayPals on. Ooh, I get an echo on Wednesday night from INA News. So thank you to everyone. Natalie Brunel, I know she gave, I believe she gave $20 over on Cash App. So cash.app/$Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, and INNnewsletter.com are the ways to support it that are the least way to have fees go and the most money to actually put into our pockets. YouTube doesn't like it when we do that. Please, if you can, support the channel, tip us, hook us up with a couple of bucks. Reef needs some weed money. I just got a mic stand. It's so crazy. I've been doing this so long, and my mic has always sat on my desk. And finally, I broke down and I said, "All right, I'm going to get one of those like kind of arms that clamps to the side of the desk and free up the space." I wouldn't say that, but it's not a terribly expensive product, and it's really funny that the
money is there.
It is, and that's what's funny, because that's why you guys hook us up with that, so that we can do things like that, and thank you for that. Because yes, we need to purchase equipment, and to cover our costs for the year. That's what we're trying to do, is cover our costs of streaming and of producing all the thumbnails and all the creative graphics. If you are able to at a means, please tip your streamers, hook up INN, help us cover our expenses for the year, and do some really cool stuff. We want to send Jesse Jet to Third Eye Carnival in April. We're going to see if we can make that happen. Or they may schedule another Third Eye Carnival later on in the year closer to him, an event that he can more easily attend. Third Eye Carnival is a weekend camping trip hangout where there are podcasters, musicians, comedians all come together to discuss what's really happening out there, and then solutions on how do we move forward together to opt out of the system and do some cool stuff, outside of the Zionist control. So we get censored for stuff like this. We got demonetized for stuff like this. So please, if you are able to, hook us up somewhere else other than on YouTube. The ways to do that are Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, and at INNnewsletter.com. You can do so with a one-time, monthly, or even an annual support over at INN Newsletter. Everybody on that board already has, and we love them deeply for it. Thank you so much, really, for all of the support that we get. We cannot do this without you. We are solely user-funded. We do not have promo codes. We do not do ad reads. We do not do sponsorships. We are here because we feel like that is potentially compromising. If you are, hesitant to criticize somebody that an advertiser might like, or criticize an advertiser directly, or criticize, there's just a lot of potential conflicts of interest that can be brought up by doing the sponsorship thing, which is why we feel like, to have the ultimate integrity, you need to be doing this solely user-funded. Otherwise, you're going to, at some point, have somebody turn to you and tell you they don't like the way that you're covering something and insist that you not cover something or whatever it is. And we've seen that repeatedly. We've seen people have blind spots because there are people that they like that have big gaps and big inconsistencies and big conflicts of interest, and just kind of look the other way and not discuss it, let other people discuss it, and not necessarily defend it, but also not go hard on things that we know that they would ordinarily go hard on. And I don't want to see that happen here. So that's why we need you to help keep us honest so that we can help keep everybody else honest. Because we say fuck the CIA, we get demonetized on YouTube. And these amazing people have already helped out our channel. They have tipped their streamers and supported the media they want to see. And we love them and appreciate them for it. That's why they're on our wall of fame. You can join them by supporting at Cash App, $ Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, and at INNnewsletter.com, where you can subscribe monthly or on an annual basis.
Support independent media, like he said.
Yeah, how about that? We need more than ever.
You said that already, right?
Labels are bad. Stay independent.
No one knows what they're doing. Everything is getting worse. Some people deserve to die. Your money is worthless. No one is properly dressed. At least one of your children will disappoint you. The system is rigged. Your house will never be completely clean. All teachers are incompetent. There are people who really dislike you. Nothing is as good as it seems. Things don't last. No one is paying attention. The country is dying. God doesn't care. Shh.
Support independent media, everyone.
We just fucking lost the stream. You can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen to 50,000 died? And now we know our mission. We form a militia, make Congress a prison. No, I play civil when all these dead won't make you listen.
What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me.